It is Thursday, March 19th, 2020, and you're listening to the final edition of the Boiler Breakdown, at least for the 2019-2020 season. I'm Tanner Lee, along with Evan Webb and Andrew Eiler. How are you guys holding up right now?
Not too bad.
Yeah, doing okay.
Yeah, doing okay. I mean, you're rocking the Reds hat, so I mean, they haven't lost the game yet.
I know, and I mean, opening day should be like a week away, and the Reds looking good. I mean,
yeah. Instead of a week, it might be a couple months. But
I know. Yeah, it's gonna be June. Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think? What do you think's gonna? This is gonna be off topic. What do you think's gonna happen there with the MLB? I mean, is it gonna be like a half of a season, or?
I think so. I think they're gonna play as much as they can. I don't know. Then they talked about it today or a couple days ago about canceling like the draft. Well, I don't know how that would work. I mean, like to save cash is what they said. I was like, okay, what happens to all the high school seniors right now or the college kids graduating? Like, I mean, Major League Baseball teams use the draft to fill out their minor leagues, how many players they have in the developmental leagues. Like, what happens to those teams? I don't know.
There's a lot of unanswered questions right now in the sports world that we're gonna have to wait on to see how they come about. But this episode, just like every episode this past year, is brought to you by Sroufe Landscaping Nurseries. Contact them at 574-223-2769 for all of your landscaping needs. Today is the first official day of spring, so it's definitely time to start thinking about landscaping because the weather's going to warm up soon. And even though we are all kind of on lockdown, we can still go outside, at least within our own yard, and enjoy the fresh air. So actually, I recommend doing that. So.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right, boys. Well, today should have been also not only the first day of spring, but it should have also been the first day of the NCAA tournament.
Yes.
Yeah. Not counting the play-in games. So what seed would Purdue have been after they won the Big Ten tournament?
So were they 16 and 15 going into the tournament?
Yeah.
So they would have had to win four.
I think some people think they could have made it to the championship game on Sunday and got in, but I think they probably would have had to win the whole thing.
Yeah, I say 10 seed.
Yeah, 9 or 10.
Yeah. I think if they would have won all those games, I don't think they get the play-in game by any means. I think they get in the tournament. So
I think the problem with Purdue is we had the quality wins, we just have the quantity of wins. That was really the biggest.
Yep.
And
they had so many others slip away that would have been
you're right.
Just like right there quality.
Well, let's kind of get into that. Looking back on the season, in your guys' opinion, what was Purdue's not your favorite win, but what was their best win overall?
Michigan State.
Yeah. Michigan State.
I mean,
honestly, the win against Wisconsin, that was just an all-out effort game. That was good.
Yeah.
And the eventual Big Ten, which I think is a joke. I think Purdue was actually better than Wisconsin, even though we split the season series. I think Purdue overall was a better team, but Wisconsin got it done.
I kind of almost just Iowa somewhat.
That's the one I was kind of leaning toward. That was on the road.
Yeah.
Or at home. You're talking about at home.
Either.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the Iowa game at home, I mean, Iowa quit like 10 minutes left in the game. Like
it's great.
Purdue couldn't miss. Purdue was playing so well defensively, offensively. I don't know.
And I think we can all agree our favorite win was down in Assembly Hall.
That's true. That's a good one.
Can we agree on that one? I mean, just with it being Bob Knight Day and everything, and we just kind of got on them from the beginning and just kept fighting.
The way that first half ended, just keep rolling into the second half. Right after all that, the Bob Knight show.
Evan Boudreaux dunking on a emptying out Assembly Hall was pretty sweet.
Yep. And how about the one of the ones that got away? Looking back on it, which one? If you had to pick one, I mean, which one kind of hurt the worst for you? Texas,
Marquette,
Texas or Marquette. Yeah, those are the two really for me. I mean, you can look at conference and look at obviously the Nebraska one sucked.
That was the worst loss I would say of the year, but
I mean, letting slip away at Michigan. I mean,
Michigan was a tough one.
Yeah.
Where would you
at Wisconsin? They had.
Where would you put Rutgers that last game?
That one really sucked. Just because you knew what it meant. I mean, it was more of just what was riding on it. But I think just from, especially the Texas game for me, just because it was a home game. They beat us last year, even though Carson put on a show. It was kind of let's have some payback with them, and we came out hot, but the end. There was just too much. We just let it slip away.
And that was why the Marquette one for me, because it was right after Texas to where it was like back to back. And I was like, oh.
Yes, got off to a 1-2 start for the year. And we were up so many points against Marquette. And it felt like we should have been up even more at halftime that game. So a lot of frustrating ones. The Wisconsin one for me, because we fought back into it and we had a good look at a 3-pointer with about 16 seconds left. That would have gave us the lead. Sasha had a good look.
2 good looks, really.
But a lot of ones you just flip, a little bit the other way, and Purdue's looking pretty good.
How many games do you think if would have went the other way, would have taken to get us to at least looking decent for the tournament? Like kind of in the same spot where IU was in, where it was kind of like we're probably
3.
3. Okay.
Oh, I was gonna say 2.
I was gonna say
maybe 2. Maybe 2. Yeah.
Just because we had the quality. I mean, we had
it depends. I mean,
wins, it was just the quantity wasn't there.
What was Purdue's, not even like worst loss as in like those Texas Marquette games that felt like Purdue gave away, but like what was Purdue's like worst loss?
One of the games I wish we would have had.
You mean margin-wise?
Margin-wise, opponent,
I think was Nebraska.
Yeah, that's true.
Margin-wise, that had to be at Illinois.
Yes, but I mean, like, yeah.
I'm going to change one of my answers. One of the games I wish we would have had back was Florida State.
Oh, I even forgot about that one. Yeah, overtime, that would. Yeah, because that's really kind of what got IU most likely in the tournament was that Florida State win.
Yep. Neutral court, overtime game.
Just what a strange season.
Literally.
Especially the home games. I mean, we haven't been through a season where Purdue's lost that many home games since the 13-14 season. And it's kind of funny because at the start of the year, we were all concerned about not getting road wins. And at the end of the year, it's not protecting the home courts probably what did Purdue in. Just strange. And it was interesting. I went back and looked at some of our preseason predictions, which we'll get into here in a little bit. But, Webby, you made an interesting comment when we were breaking down the non-conference schedule before the season even started. You said you could see this team getting off to a slow start in the preseason like last year's team did, then finding themselves. They did indeed get off to a slow start, but they never really found themselves.
Nope. I feel like it was coming for a while. I feel like it just kept coming. It was going to be
a roller coaster.
And then we'd have a game like Michigan State, or we have a game like Virginia, and that was a non-conference. But then you especially like in the look at the schedule, our 2 December games were Nebraska and
Northwestern at home.
So it was like cool 2-0. And then you looked at Nebraska one, so I was like, oh, okay. This is interesting.
Yep.
Well, and then we were going into that Ohio game too, right after that Nebraska that we talked about. I remember because I was at Ohio at night. We're like, this could be bad if Purdue's not playing well, and Purdue won handily.
Yeah, won pretty easily. And I think we all three had Purdue losing in the range of 2 to 3 non-conference games. I know, Evan, one of your losses was Virginia. You had us losing to Virginia. I think I had us splitting, which we did split, down in wherever that tournament was. Florida. We all had them beating Marquette, so I don't know. I think Butler was the other loss I had. I'm guessing just because I hate the Crossroads, so I'm guessing.
Yeah, probably.
I mean, I went back and listened, but I didn't really listen real closely to see who picked what games. But as far as a Big Ten finish, Andrew, you for whatever reason, you were attributing to the conversation, but you never gave a finish. I had us finishing 4th, and Evan, you had us finishing 3rd. We're just a little off there. Let's see who else we have here.
I meant like 3rd to last almost. What I was trying to say.
Scoring leader, we all three thought Matt Harms would be the scoring leader, around 14 points per game. And Andrew, you said No Gel would be just on his tail.
Wow.
Yeah, we had high hopes for those two coming this year. I think Travion ended up being the scoring leader for points per game.
He was, yeah. Hey, No Gel was only 4.9, so he's only like 6 points behind. No big deal.
8.6.
And we had a question. I do remember this one because I was pumped because I got it right away. We asked if Purdue would have anybody score 25 points in a game. I said Jihad Proctor would do it, and he did it, the first game or second game of the year?
Second game, yeah.
Andrew, you got 2 for 2. You said Matt Harms and Travion Williams would. And you said Travion would go off in a game, including a 3-pointer, and he did against Michigan. He had 36 and 20, and he made a 3.
Boom.
Evan, you get an F+++.
Yeah.
You said Aaron Wheeler. Yeah, you were. You were driving the Aaron Wheeler fan bus all year, and especially
not giving up
season.
yet.
That was
through January. Webby was the only one.
Hey, I'm still on him.
He's
gonna click. He's gonna click.
He's gonna click. Sophomore slump is fine.
Man.
It happens to everybody. It happens to the best of us.
And
what year did was it Keaton Grant who had a really good sophomore year and a really bad junior year? Was it? Or
Yep. He was the team MVP his sophomore year, and then he went cold as junior, and then he returned good as senior.
Flip-flop of Keaton Grant.
Yep. Like I said, we had high hopes for Matt Harms. I asked the question if he'd hit 20 or more threes. He only hit 10 this year.
He only took 32.
Yeah, I thought he'd take a lot more than that. He did miss a few games, but still, he wouldn't have shot probably 10 more.
He wasn't going to shoot, yeah.
Evan and I said yes, and Andrew was a smart one and said no. We all three thought Matt Harms would be either a first or second all Big Ten team selection. He wasn't an honorable mention.
Yeah.
And then I asked if Purdue would have a defensive player of the year, and we all three said yes. We didn't really say which one would be between Harms and Eastern, but we all three said yes.
Defensive player of the year, is that what we said?
Yeah.
Okay.
We all three thought one of those two would be.
Who ended up winning that?
Xavier Tillman from Michigan State.
Boo.
But Eastern made all Big Ten defensive teams. So, And then we said who leads the freshman in minutes. Thankfully, we all three said Isaiah Thompson. We were right, but none of us really thought both Gillis and Newman would redshirt.
I guess we forgot we did this before. We knew they were redshirt.
I didn't remember if we knew that or not.
Yeah, we did not. So I would say maybe we did a little better than the football ones. I remember the football ones were so bad due to injury.
We all had Rondale Moore for everything.
Yeah, him and Elijah. We had for Heisman. So
yeah, pretty much.
Oh man, so not terrible, but not good either. So I was laughing. I had Rutgers finishing like 13th in the Big Ten. I had Ohio State second. Yeah. At least I did have Michigan State.
Ohio State looked good for like the first 12 games.
Mm-hmm. Yep. But fun stuff. But it's hard to pinpoint one thing, but what went wrong for Purdue this year?
I don't know if it was just having too much success as a young team last year, or a lot of those guys being on a very successful team. You had guys like Travion and Hunter, playing decent minutes, but then even Sasha played some decent minutes, and then obviously you had Gel and Harms were sophomores on a very good team, and Carson and Klein and Eifert obviously were the leaders of that team. But I don't know if maybe they thought maybe just do whatever they did that year and it'd be fine, but you always have to improve, and a large chunk of scoring went away, and definitely didn't feel like we filled those voids. I mean, we put up 37 points in the game, so that's obviously last time we played at Illinois. I felt like Carson scored more than that himself, or he did score more than that himself. So I don't know if it was just a work ethic thing, or people just not focusing on the whole package of play, maybe only focus on one thing. We saw highlight videos over the summer of No Gel and Travion doing certain things, and I mean, those are fine and dandy, but when it comes to game time situations, those really don't always, it's not going to be doing those types of moves in a real game. So I don't know. I just feel like it was kind of I don't want to say inexperienced, because we had the guys who played a lot, but I think we just weren't proving ourselves, and it was just kind of inexperienced in key roles, I guess.
I think it was lack of leadership and lack of maturity.
Yeah, I think maturity, not necessarily from like a personal or mental.
No, more on the court.
Like a Johnny Johnson type thing. It was more just being
experience, almost
player.
Like Webby, I get what you mean. Like, I kind of want to say experience, but not, because you've got Nogel and Harms who have played a lot. Like Travion has played it. I mean, like, they've all been there, and that's where it's just not the experience in that role of kind of owning, and no one taking this is my team. Like Carson was clearly, this is his team. Like, I don't know whose team was it this year.
And
Trevion, like I don't know.
I don't think there ever was.
No,
that's what I mean.
It was game to game.
It was almost Evan Boudreaux at the end of the year.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Actually, the last I would say, the last third, it was pretty much
couple games you had.
But I wish that would have been the case earlier in the year. It seemed to me like this team almost seems too nice.
Yeah.
Like it's made up by a bunch of good guys, which is always good. You want good representatives of the university, but it seemed like when you had to go against the tough teams, I don't want to say chippy, but like the tough physical teams like Illinois, Penn State, Rutgers, who will talk some smack.
It's true. You can say chippy for Illinois. It's true.
It seemed like we just kind of backed down against teams like that and didn't show the fight.
Yeah, even at home.
Michigan, Penn State just came in, and Illinois just came in and whooped Purdue at Mackey. We just don't see that.
I mean, it was kind of. I feel like the last couple minutes of the Rutgers home game kind of was just a nice little snapshot of the whole season where we had, Hunter the last second had a chance to shoot it for a 3 and passed it up with a couple seconds left. It's like, what are you doing?
I don't think he knew how much time was on the clock.
Time was left for just being unselfish and seeing the open man, just not being aware of the situation. It was like when I
finishing from the free throw line.
Yeah, when I saw when that happened, I was like, God, that's just being too nice, or just I don't know what it was, or just a lack of awareness. I don't know. I mean, obviously we've never played at that level in terms of basketball. No, Andrew, you played high level athletics, but it's just I don't know. We just didn't have that dude. I mean, Geo Baker, my God,
he just took over, and that's what Purdue needs, an alpha. Maybe they're getting one next year, but he's gonna be a freshman.
I think it's a lot to ask.
It is
a lot to ask. I mean, even Carson as a freshman didn't need to because we.
But
I'm saying maybe down the road. Maybe down the road.
Yeah, I mean, I think someone like Travion. I think Travion has the capability of doing that, kind of like Biggie did. I think you have Hunter could do something like that. I think Hunter definitely has probably in terms of from a guard standpoint, the most capable is more capable.
I would say next year, yeah. Unless Ivy is just really good, which he could be.
Yeah.
Which would be
awesome. Got a few, I got a question here, but then also observation. We're talking about a Purdue team that returns pretty much everybody next year, and you can look at that 2 ways: is that a good problem or a bad problem? Well, Jeff Goodman, who covers college basketball for CBS Sports, he has Purdue ranked tied for 25th right now and is extremely early top 25 for next year. So
I think it's just a more respect for Painter.
And that's what he said. He said Painter's too good of a coach not to be on the outside looking in 2 years in a row, and Purdue does return everybody. But he did say how they struggled at offense for a majority of the year.
I just hope that the way the season ended, and I mean, not getting a true chance to finish the season the way you want to. I hope that leaves a bad taste in their mouth. And the last game they played was a loss at home. But I mean, now they literally can't come back to campus and work out with each other. They've got to do everything on their own. So this is going to be. I mean, who knows how long they're going to? Who knows how long they're going to be there? I mean, who knows if they even can come back in the summer? However, how long this COVID-19 thing lasts. So it's all on them, and that kind of worries me because what are they doing? But I don't know. We'll see.
I'm maybe it's just because I didn't like watching this team because he said how bad the offense was. I am not optimistic for next year just because I think they'll be better just because I like the guys that are coming off a red shirt, and I like Morton and Ivy a lot, and I think that they'll get good experience. But I think it's a lot to ask of Ivy, Morton, Newman, Gillis.
Yeah,
I'm not considering Edey because I think Edey's going to redshirt, but of those to change the offensive profile, the offensive identity of what this team is.
What you hope for is you hope that they can push everybody because at least now, with Gillis and Newman, no matter how good they were, the guys who were playing didn't have to worry about them taking their spot because Painter was going to put them in January.
Yeah,
hopefully maybe that sense of I might lose my job to a freshman can kind of maybe push some of these guys who need it.
The positive I took was is how I felt like Hunter had moments where he looked like from freshman to sophomore year. I don't know, early, like the IU game, like the IU in Bloomington where he just kind of took over and ran the team. And then Northwestern where he had the play at the last 5 minutes of the Northwestern game at Evanston where he had flashes of kind of being the guy. And if he can kind of keep improving, then that would, and comes out. And if he can make a big jump, I don't know what he averaged point wise, probably like 8 or something.
Hunter
10 somewhere in there.
Hunter averaged 10.6. He was.
I felt like he got about 10 a game when he was playing well.
Yeah. I mean, the second half, I mean, I felt like he played pretty well. I mean,
Mhm.
he definitely had games where he disappeared, but I mean, if he gets to be consistent and kind of be the guy, then I would probably feel quite a bit better because
he led the team in minutes per game.
Yeah. Who's your guys' team MVP? That is a tough one, I think, because
That is a tough one.
there's not a clear-cut answer. I mean, they
No.
can go with a lot of different guys because there wasn't ever a real standout guy.
I mean,
I almost say, I was going to say Boudreaux almost just because, I mean, he was kind of the heart. I mean, he was kind of the heart and hustle. I mean, kind of as he was going and getting on the floor and getting rebounds is kind of how Purdue went.
As much as Nojel helps the team on defense, I just can't give it to him because of the lack of offense this year. But I'm actually going to go Eric Hunter Jr.
Yeah, that's who I was kind of leaning as well. But
it was between him and Williams for me. It was close, but I like the Boudreaux pick too.
I don't know if I was going to pick Boudreaux, but I would say I would consider
I like
it there.
to mention.
Mm-hmm.
But you could make the case for a lot of guys. Of course, and then we had some guys with some disappointing years. I mean, we expected more out of Matt Harms and definitely expected more out of Aaron Wheeler this year. Hopefully they both bounce back. Assuming they both are back, do you guys foresee anybody leaving?
No.
I don't know. I don't want to speculate. I mean, it seems like everybody likes each other.
If anyone, I think it'd be Duono.
Oh, yeah.
That's not what I can see. Like, again, I just want to sit out another year.
Yeah.
Same with Wheeler. Like, I mean, he's going to be a junior unless he can somehow, which I don't think now with classes the way they're going. I mean, unless he can graduate this year, then that's the only time I'd see him being able to leave because he has a red shirt. But if he can't, then I don't see it just because it'd just be wasting another year of sitting on the bench somewhere unless he just absolutely hates it, which, I mean, if that's the case, then, you do you. But I don't see any transfers at the time.
It's interesting because even in this down period right now of nothing going on, we still see colleges firing their coaches and some players entering the transfer pool, like DJ Carton today for Ohio State.
But he left the team.
Yeah, that surprised me though. I thought he would come back. I don't know, but there's probably more to that situation than what was being told. So
yeah. So you said back. I just had a question. Do you guys think Harms was healthy?
Nope.
No. I don't think so. I don't think he was healthy at all year.
I think it started with that concussion against Nebraska and then that hip against Michigan. Because I just felt, I mean, he's always run kind of strange, but I felt like it was really bad after that Michigan game. And
he would, just about every game, he'd get knocked down and then he would limp and he'd come out, and it's like you could tell it was hurting or re-injure or hurt more.
And I think that's a kid who loves the university, loves the area. I mean, I retweeted from our Twitter account yesterday of him, which you can follow at Boilerbrake Pod if you don't already. He was running still with animal shelter dogs right now. The only reason I brought up him maybe leaving is he's a year older, and if he wanted to go play pro ball in Europe, he could probably find somewhere to latch on. But I think he wants to bounce back and have a better year probably than he did this year, even if he wants to ultimately go to Europe and play. So, any other thoughts on the 2019-2020 season before we move into a little more enjoyable topic to talk about?
What's my thought is, what's your guys' expectation for Isaiah Thompson next year? How much do you think he steps into? What's his role?
I think kind of what Eric Hunter was this year.
I think so.
About 10 points a game. I mean, it's
that would be awesome. Yeah.
There's going to be. I just think the minutes. It's going to be so interesting how the minutes because even though I would say Sasha starts day one next year, I don't know if he gets as many minutes as he did this year.
Yeah,
it's just going to be really interesting.
Yeah.
Who's your? I know we kind of talked about this off the air before we started recording. Brian Newbert posted his projected starting five day one. Who do you guys think is going to be a starters day one?
I like this starting five. I couldn't argue with.
So he had Eric Hunter.
He had Hunter. I think he had Hunter, Isaiah, Sasha, Nojel 4, and then Williams at 5. But then you got a pretty good bench coming off there. I'm really anxious to see the Brendan Newman and Mason Gillis. And from people I've talked to that saw Gillis play when he's healthy, if he's indeed healthy, Purdue could really have a player in him.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it's day one. Who do you think is started by the start of Big Ten season when it kicks back up in January? Do you think someone like Morton or Ivy pushes someone out of the starting lineup?
I definitely think you can replace one, if not two of those guys by Big Ten season. Somebody else slides in there.
I see a lot of people saying like Morton Iver starts from day one, which I mean I guess it could be
That's
if that's
tough.
that good, but
Freshman,
it's
though.
I think Painter has.
When's the last time that's happened? Oh, Biggie.
Biggie, yeah, I would say.
Besides Biggie, I guess Eton and those guys, but that team coming back good.
Yeah, I mean,
did
Painter
Vince or Dakota? I don't know what they didn't think
Nope.
so. I remember.
Actually, that team coming back, they had made the tournament, but they lost Landry and Teague and all those guys.
Right. They lost Lutz as well from that team.
Yeah.
I think Painter's always kind of talked about he likes to play guys he can trust, and I don't unless just again Ivy and Morton come in or just the second coming of Dakota Mathias and Carson Edwards type player. I don't know if Painter will be able to trust them right off the bat.
Yeah.
But they can earn it. Painter is he's very fair.
Yeah.
But I mean, not day one. I mean, maybe like the third game or something like that, just because he's got to give them the opportunity and he's going to give the guys like. I agree though with what you Tanner said about Sasha. I think Sasha is the one who's going to be at risk of losing minutes or kind of getting lost in the shuffle of all the guards. Or
if he can be like a Ryan Klein and come in and hit 3 threes, 4 threes a game, it's fine.
Yeah. And play hard. Yep.
Yeah.
Just limit the turnovers. I mean, he just needs to limit the turnovers.
Yeah, it's just kind of slow down. Seems like it gets going too quick.
Yeah, but I think there's a few things to be excited about. But I'm with you, Andrew. I'm not going to have my expectations as high as I did this year. I mean, this year I really wanted that double bye in the Big Ten tournament. And of course, they didn't get that. But I'm going to keep my little more.
You're always excited, Webby.
I'm always excited.
And we don't have any basketball recruiting news.
No.
Hit on this.
Andrew wasn't here when we talked about Caleb first last time. So
no. He wasn't.
What's your thoughts?
I was torn. I'm happy. I guess I'm happy with it. It's just because it was kind of I know, big time. I don't know.
Yeah, I get it though. Trey Kaufman would have been good.
Yeah,
either one. Either one of them. Yeah, I guess Purdue's still recruiting them hard, which would be cool.
Yeah,
I don't know. I was kind of when they were all about it, I was like Harrison Ingram because I felt like Purdue was going to get first just because he'd been there all the time. I mean, he saw Purdue win by like he went to like 4 games and Purdue won by a cumulative like 100 points for those 4 games.
I did not feel confident about him. I thought
he was Izzo bound.
I thought he was Michigan State or Virginia bound. I thought for sure.
He saw Purdue whoop them both those teams.
Right. Yeah. But I thought, for whatever reason, there's just that weird Michigan State Fort Wayne, which is weird because Purdue has a good Fort Wayne connection.
Yeah, Raphael,
Biggie, Raphael, Grady. Yeah, but I thought, I don't know. He just seemed like a Michigan, just stereotypical Michigan State white.
I don't know,
white guy.
But I mean, like, I would think that eventually, if you've got someone who's smart, is going to look at Izzo and look at Michigan State and just see like this is a bomb about to blow up at some point,
or the fact like Allen's going to be there. I mean, that's
like Izzo's going to retire, or like the university's going to get something's finally going to stick, and the university's going to explode.
There's going to be some scandal coming out, and all of a sudden, you had National Signing Day, and then you quit 2 days later or 2 days before, or whatever Dan Antonio did.
Yeah, speaking of Michigan State, maybe you guys were talking about this while I was letting my dog out, but I read a report, and nothing really came out of it a week or two ago, that Antonio was getting investigated for cheating. For like a Spygate type thing.
No, that'd be
I
awesome.
See that.
I did not see that, but
yeah, there was some. I don't know if it was Detroit Free Press or Detroit Press or something. I don't know news, but I never heard anything else. There was like one Twitter article I saw.
I mean, he's gone, so what can
yeah.
I mean,
they have punished the university.
Yeah.
Have they hired a coach? Yeah, that's right.
He's the 11th or 12th highest paid coach in the nation. He's got a 5-7 record.
Yeah.
I mean, he can recruit. Don't get me wrong, but like, man, I don't know. And he did Colorado pretty dirty too. How he
very dirty.
So I get leaving for a better job and opportunity and more money and everything. I mean, they doubled his salary. Nobody's got to turn that down. But just how he did it. I mean, he was at a Colorado booster event and accepted the job. So pretty messed up.
It's such a
pretty messed up.
Who's the jackass that Butch Jones.
He used Purdue as leverage, and then he screwed Colorado. He was pretty much in negotiations with Colorado. Then Tennessee opened up. He got that job, and he was out of there. So good college coaching carousel, man. It's always something.
Yeah, football is so much worse though.
Oh, it is. Yeah.
Even recruiting. Like I feel like commitment, like verbal commitments in basketball, are pretty secure. But football commits. I mean,
There's
you look at,
just
like,
so many. There's so many
Yeah.
scholarships.
Yeah,
we
there's
said, like
Ross.
George committed, but then was still going to take official visit. I mean, he eventually didn't, but
Scared
still,
me.
it's like, yeah, it's like, God, just what's the point of committing?
Speaking of, with
Yeah.
the shutdown of recruiting right now, does this help Purdue with Yanni Karlaftis?
Stay home.
Gotta,
Can't leave.
Yeah, can't leave.
Yeah.
Social distancing.
Shut the
So
state down, Holcomb.
Recruiting shut down until January 1.
yeah, this is a really weird recruiting time for football because and
Basketball,
and
too.
with spring football
Yeah.
being done, I know there's a lot of other programs that are in the same boat, but I hate this for Purdue. New defense coordinator trying to install new defense. You get half your practices in.
You got 8 practices in.
Yeah.
7. Some schools hadn't even practiced yet. So I mean, it's
Yeah.
see what you can get. But
And they gotta, hopefully this thing's done by the summer. Coronavirus, COVID-19. I don't know. I have no idea because even if you get the kids in August, that doesn't give them a lot of time from a strength and conditioning standpoint to get in shape to play a game in September. You need to get them in there in July if you can.
I'm sure they're on programs. I'm sure they've planned this. I mean, they're all going to go back to their high school gyms or do something. Or
Rondell's working out with David Blau.
Yeah.
Dallas.
cool.
But I read, I think someone said that, like, that was an interview with Babinski maybe about the spring practices, how, I mean, yeah, not knowing what's going to happen, but potentially having the team back in like June if they can to kind of resume some of these spring practices.
We can only hope this thing doesn't go on long enough to affect college football and the NFL, but it's
Stay home, people.
But
college football, stay home.
Yeah.
That's what I saw someone on Twitter told every coach in America needs to tell their college team, like, if you want to play football in the fall, then do your part. Like, because if you
don't go down to Florida on the beach.
Oh my God.
Well, they're all shut down. The beaches down.
Well, I mean,
they weren't.
They weren't.
Oh, I know.
Man, we live in a country of a bunch of idiots. But anyways, positive vibes tonight.
Yeah.
Andrew, I think you had a bracket up that you found that was
you sent it somebody.
Right.
Yeah, it was a
from ISD Purdue on Instagram or on Twitter. Go follow them.
Yeah, it was
they have really good content. I like following them.
Okay. They had a quarantine madness selection show. It was 16 teams, 16 Purdue history teams, kind of a bracket, 1 to 16 seed. So who would win, I guess? Who's basically best team Purdue basketball history. Do Mr. Roll through the bracket and talk about it?
Do it.
All right, in the Big Dog region, we got the number 1 seed, the 1994 team.
Yeah. The lead team that lost to Duke.
Yeah, against the 2016 team.
So that 94 team, so we had obviously the Big Dog. You had Konzo. Brantley on that team?
Yeah, I think he was on that team.
Brad Miller was a freshman, averaged 6.5 points.
Okay. I did not know he was on that. Okay.
Neither did I. Brantley, I don't. Matt Waddell, I don't. Oh yeah, Brantley. There, I missed him. Yeah, Brantley was second. He was second leading scorer with 10.
Waddell was also a pharmacy major.
Oh wait, hold. I standing. That's the 94-95 team. My bad.
Okay.
Okay.
So Brad Miller was not on that team. Okay. He was a freshman on the 95 team.
95-96. Okay.
Yeah. But Brantley was a sophomore, averaged 4.5 points. So Matt Waddell, third leading scorer, 11.3 behind Glenn Robinson.
From the highlights I've seen, it was a one-man show, man. I mean,
Konzo averaged 16.
I know, but Glenn shot whatever he wanted. I mean, I thought Carson had the green light. Glenn was just get out of his way.
I mean, you were showing our age. We were all too young. We were alive. We were way too young to even have any recollection.
16 game against Kansas, and he dunks over Ostertag and just smiles. And I'm like, good God, man. The guy averaged 30 points and 12 boards his junior year. The dude was...
They came out with some bracket of like best college basketball players, and he was not on there. For one, they had men versus women, which is stupid.
I mean, he was just dominant, and I would say the best I've seen is Evan Turner, and Big Dog was on another level than Evan Turner.
Yeah,
man. So I'm going with it was a 94 against 2016 team.
So 2016, that was Biggie. Is that 2016, 2017, or is that
20? I'm taking it. Just says 2016. I'm assuming that's the 15-16 because the 94 was the big dog. Was big dogs. That's what they're calling. So I'm assuming 2015, 26.
94, 95 was definitely the year we went. That was the Elite Eight year, right?
93, 94.
93, 94 was the year against
yeah.
the Elite
I
Eight.
was number one drafted 94.
2015,
Yes.
2016 made that. So that was the Little Rock year.
Yeah.
Why
So they're the 16 seed.
That team was pretty dang talented. I mean,
It was.
Yeah.
I mean,
Davis, Swan.
I mean,
Matthias, Edwards.
that was Swanigan's freshman year. I mean, they were definitely better than next year.
That was the one I was nervous about Biggie leaving because Matt didn't play him for like the last 20 minutes because Lower Rock and AJ was so exhausted he didn't want the ball. So Johnny Hill was trying to take over.
Jerk, 6'11" center shooting a shot and hitting the rim and bouncing 40 feet in the air. And
The dude making the 45-footer from like half court. Like he shot it. I thought the game was like over and he nails it. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. Yeah, that popped up on I have a national calendar of sporting events.
Oh yeah.
It was on the day. It was like Monday or Tuesday this week. I'm like,
Did you
well,
light it
now
on
I'm
fire?
I
out.
remember you sent that. Yeah.
I would have lit it on fire.
Did you just like go back in bed? Just like,
There was no way Purdue would be mentioned at all in the 365 days.
and how the heck was it Little
You gotta
Rock?
be kidding me. I hate
It was
that.
freaking Chris Beard, too. That's the worst part. Is we saw him again 2 years later.
I went into work the next day and somebody in the IT department at the car dealership I was working at changed my screensaver to a Little Rock player. I about punched my screen.
Was that the year after Cincinnati or Cincinnati the next?
Yeah,
year?
after-
So it was
yeah.
back to back.
That was back to back. I didn't remember if it was Cincinnati then Little Rock or
Yeah, because
vice
Ray
versa.
Fell and Hammonds, for all
Yeah.
they did, never won an NCAA tournament game. Because I remember that Hammonds' rookie year in the NBA, they had interviews with players like what it was like, what they thought their experience, how they liked their experience in the NCAA tournament. Hammonds like, yeah, I didn't like my experience in the tournament.
Yeah, give me the 94 team pretty easily.
In a
yeah.
landslide.
Who's gonna stop Glenn? I mean, man.
All right.
I would like
Okay.
to see like Glenn trying to dunk over Hammond, so that would be. I think he would.
Oh
do
my!
it.
I think he would go
But-
around him,
Cool,
through him, over him, anything he wanted. Yeah.
You can't tell me that wouldn't be cool.
All right. So then in the bottom half of that bracket, the 8-9, we've got the 2019, so 2018-2019 against the 1979-1980.
So that was the
Obviously-
Final Four team.
Obviously, don't remember that team.
Man, who
A decade
who
before.
would stop Joe Barry?
Yeah.
You have to throw harms at him, but I mean they're both lanky. You had that.
There you go. Hook. It's got a hook. Yeah.
I don't know. They're the 9.
Travion wouldn't stand a chance. Fresh
No.
No.
against
Well,
Joe
yeah,
Barry.
but who's going to stop Carson though? I mean,
That's true.
Carson's going to dunk over.
Yeah,
Joe Barry.
I'm going last year's team just because recency bias.
Hey, you know who was on that 1979-1980 team? John Anthrop. Heard that name.
Yeah.
And Rosie Barnes.
Oh,
Oh,
that's right.
Wow.
yeah.
Wow. Did not know that.
I think Carson just lights him up.
Yeah.
I don't know. It'd be interesting. Joe Barry,
Carson dunks over Joe Barry Carroll. Dunks over Isaac.
left-handed.
It's got to be left-handed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
think
Give me
Carson-
last year's team.
So I would.
We were an eyelash away from the Final Four. Much better talent.
I want to. Yeah. And then you got Carson. Then you got the next round. You got Carson against Big Dog.
Oh, man.
And
Oh, man.
what years is it? Oh,
So
the next
sticking in the Big Dog region, it would be.
Last year's team, I still got to go 94.
Yeah, I know. I think it's pretty clear that Glenn Robinson.
Dominant.
Okay, so you guys are in agreement. The 94 team to the Final Four from the Big Dog region. Right? In the bottom left of the bracket, you got the Comb Over region.
Yes.
You got the 5 seed, the 2017 team. So 16, 17.
16.
16.
Was fun.
Yeah. And then against the one that we all remember, the 1932 12 seed.
National champs, baby.
Hey, John Wooden gets to play with a 3-point line now. It's a game changer.
Man. That's more Rick Mount. That's the game changer.
Oh,
So I had to look it up on the sports reference.
Is it the Helms national champion? Is that what it was called
I-
at that point?
They don't even have a roster.
John
I can't even find a roster, but
The first one probably goes back to like 38 when Oregon was the very first like NCAA basketball champion. I think it was like 38.
I will say that Purdue went 17-1. They went 11-1 in the Big Ten, and their
Who's the
coach
one
was
loss?
I don't know. I'm trying to look that up.
Was Lambert?
Lambert, the coach.
Piggy Lambert was the coach.
You guys have a building name after him. It's pretty strong.
Yeah.
We don't have Pater Fieldhouse yet.
Final
So
in Lambert Fieldhouse in May, and that was the worst final.
Hotter than Hades. God, I had a few
on my exam. Eventually, said, screw it.
There was no air conditioning the whole freaking place. Hotter than the sun in there.
Yeah.
Last time I was in there was the Purdue Minnesota football game a couple of years ago. Hung out there to wait out the storm.
Bridgewater Bentley pick 6.
Yes, but I am going with the 16-17 team.
I will as well.
Yeah.
Biggie and Isaac. They wouldn't know what to think of Isaac. There was no 7-3 guys playing basketball back then.
Plus, yeah. I mean, plus you got Vince, Dakota, Carson.
That was a good team. Ran to a buzzsaw of Kansas. That was a good team.
That was
Yep.
One of my favorite games to go to was the Iowa State second round game. I watched Butler the game before and got to see us play Iowa State, and that was fun.
That was a talented team.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And then in the bottom half of that side, you've got the 4 seed, the 1987-88 team against the 13-97-98.
I mean, 87-88 team only lost 3 games in the regular season. So you got Troy losing every
4 games, Tanner. 4 if you count the NCAA tournament, I'm assuming.
Yeah, Mitch Richmond lit him up, who supposedly Purdue killed earlier in the year at Kansas State. Then Mitch Richmond just went off in the Sweet 16. So you had Troy Lewis, Everett Stevens, and
you got
Todd Mitchell.
Todd,
what were they called?
The three amigos.
Melvin. Who do you guys know who Melvin McCants is?
Nope. I just know the 3.
He averaged 14 points that year.
This is like a bracket we need like our dads to help us out with because we're still for a lifetime.
Yeah, was just telling me that might have been Purdue's best team he's seen.
Really?
Yeah.
Just most complete team.
Yeah,
I mean, you've got
just shocking when they lost to Kansas State in the Sweet 16.
I'd say there's 4 guys that average 13 to 18 points.
Who are they playing against in this matchup?
The 97-98.
So Cardinal was probably sophomore in that team. Brad Miller.
Nothing about like how far that team got.
Probably had.
I think they got the Sweet 16 lost to Stanford.
Deron Cornell probably on that team.
You've got Chad. What did I say? 97. Chad Austin, Brad Miller, Brian Cardinal.
Was that the year we beat IU like on a buzzer beater? Was it Chad Austin buzzer beater year?
It was Woody Austin.
Sorry.
I don't know. Yeah, it's one of the Austins. They both were there. So.
Who else was on the team, Andrew? Sorry. It was
Deron Cornell, Mike Robinson.
Yep.
He was good.
Alan Eldridge, Gary McQuaid.
It was a really good team. I mean, they made the Sweet 16, lost to Stanford. And the other matchup that day, I believe, was Rhode Island and Valpo. I believe, because Rhode Island had Lamar Odom. And then Stanford beat Rhode Island, I believe, in the lead. I could be way off there. I don't know. After I said that, I don't know.
I'm going to go with the 88.
And then the Collin Twins 1 year.
I'm going to go with 3 Amigos. But
yeah, I will too. I will too.
I want to bring back the 97-98 jerseys.
Yes. Yes.
I love jerseys.
Yes.
So in the Comb-Over region now, we've got the 2017 against the 1988 team.
Man.
I don't know.
I mean, who's taking Isaac?
I'm going to say the 17 team because I think Biggie was like a National Player of the Year.
Yeah.
Yeah. They both lost in the Sweet 16 to teams from Kansas. But I'm going recency bias, taking the 16-17 team.
Same. Okay. So
that'd be fun to see Troy Lewis versus like a Carson. And then you got obviously Brad Miller and Brian Cardinal versus Biggie and Isaac.
Oh, I forgot about that. Brian Cardinal, I feel like, would just beat up somebody. So would Brad Miller. They would just mug him. Okay. So we say the 94 team from the top half.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. In the upper right, the Baby Boiler region.
Oh man, this is gonna get,
You've got the 2 seed, the 2010 team against the 1995.
I gotta go 2010.
2010.
Yeah, I was gonna say
95 team.
That was the Conzo, Brantley, Matt Waddell.
A 2 seed.
What?
How are they a 2 seed?
The 2010? Well, because there's no
overall.
Yeah, it's overall. There's no like they don't do like a 1 in each side. It's
2010 all day long.
Yeah, absolutely.
That was the most.
Yeah, it was junior year, Robbie. Junior year.
Yeah,
it was obviously the year
healthy Robbie. Yeah, like peak of the team.
You know what? A lot of people forget. Lewis Jackson missed the first 2 months of the season with a broken foot.
Yeah.
Came back in mid-January against Wisconsin because he thought Purdue had a chance. Because he was thinking about redshirting, but he thought Purdue had a chance to do something special, and that was a bench guard.
He did
off the bench, Lewis.
I mean, had Robbie not had that night in Minnesota,
well, they were rolling, man.
Yeah.
They were still good enough to get to the Sweet 16 and only lose by 10 to the eventual national champion Duke Blue Devils.
So that was that was junior year Baby Boilers, right?
Yes.
And then you had senior Kramer, senior Grant.
Yes.
Nemaja.
No, Nemaja.
No,
He was
Nemaja.
the year before.
Year before, okay.
Him and Marcus Green were the year before.
Right, you're right. We have Sandy? No. Yes?
I don't know.
We had Patrick Beatty. We had Kelsey Barlow, Ryan Smith, DJ Bird.
Yes.
Was Toronto on that team yet? Or was
No.
he a year later?
No, the next year. He was my freshman year.
That's right. Yeah. You guys are the same grade.
Yep. An agreement there. That's an easy one. Excuse me. Okay, in the bottom half of that bracket, you got the 7 seed, the 2011 team, against the 10 seed 1987. So 2011, so just the senior year of the Baby Boilers without Hummel.
Yeah, I honestly thought that team overachieved all year long. They were undefeated at Mackey, and then they just ran to a buzzsaw against VCU. I mean, they were good. I mean, they had Juwan and Etuan, and Ryan Smith was a good counterpart. And even I thought John Hart, when healthy, was third best player on that team.
Over Lewis?
Yeah, Lewis was pretty good too.
Over Travel Carroll?
Yes.
What's the other team? 87?
87. So
three amigos again the year before.
Yeah.
So who's on the team?
Troy Lewis, Todd Mitchell, Everett Stevens, Melvin McCants, Doug Lee. I don't know. It says he played in the NBA. Averaged 10 points his senior year. Steve Scheffler was a freshman.
Oh, he's a good player.
What? How far did they get? Does it say?
I don't know. They went 15-3 in the Big Ten.
No.
They were a 3 seed. They won the first round they lost the second round to 6 seed Florida.
I go recency biased. I don't.
Yeah, I think Juwan
was the Big Ten player of the year that year.
Not never seeing the Three Amigos. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yep. You have all the dads are going to be pissed off.
Oh yeah. Yeah. You idiots. You only knew.
So you got the 2010 against the 2011 team, pretty clearly the 2010 team, right? I mean,
because even though I will say senior year Juwan and Etuan were better than junior year Juwan and Etuan, but Kramer,
Keaton,
and Robbie. I mean,
who does Kramer take Etuan in that? Does 2020
Etuan guard Etuan? Juwan against Juwan.
Was 2011? Was that when Juwan hit a game winner against Penn State?
Yep. At home. Yep.
God.
That was when we smacked Ohio State around when Etuan had 38.
Well, yeah.
Loudest smack he's ever been.
That was crazy.
Yep. Are you surprised that of those three, that Etuan has had by far the best NBA career?
Yes.
Do you think it was going to be Juwan?
I did, especially when he was picked in the first round. I didn't think he'd fizzle out after a year or two, and I knew Robbie just with his knee.
Yeah, I didn't think Robbie, but I mean,
Etuan was so smooth though. He's so underappreciated looking back.
Oh yeah,
he was so darn good.
Yeah, I think he's my favorite Purdue player.
He just did a little bit of everything. He was smooth.
All right, and in the bottom right, you got the Mount region.
Oh boy.
The number 6 seed 1969 against the 11 seed the 2000 team.
The 2000 team was the Elite 8 team who, I mean, they just kind of they beat Dayton and somebody else, Oklahoma, by like single digits. I think it was like 2 or 3 points first and second round, and they beat Gonzaga in the Sweet 16. Then they met up with an 8 or 9 seed Wisconsin in the Elite 8, and the Final Four was in Indy, and Wisconsin beat them. I remember watching that game a little bit.
You are ridiculous, Tanner.
I remember watching that one a little bit. That was the first season of Purdue basketball I remember.
I don't remember that.
I vaguely remember Brian Cardinal.
I remember
Mike Robinson. It was all their senior year.
The first two Purdue players I remember watching were Brad Miller and Deron Cornell. Those are my two.
I do not remember Brad Miller.
I remember
being at a game.
A junior on this team. I think a junior maybe. Carson Cunningham was a big
junior
for that team.
Yep.
Like
11 points.
What's that?
Like number 40 or something
43.
like that. 43, yeah.
Yeah, his jersey.
Oh, you know who else? It was a freshman on this team?
Kenneth Lowe.
Kenny Lowe. Yeah.
Kenny Lowe,
Wow.
Yeah. I mean that was a fun team, but I feel like the
69 team.
the 69 team is Rick freaking out, man.
Runner-up, national champion runner-up.
Yes, national champion.
He's going to put up 70.
Yeah, 33 points a game without a three.
I got to go with the 69 team, even though that was like a one-man team. But
they had two other guys that said play in the NBA: Herman Gilliam,
yeah,
and Bill Keller.
I've actually heard both those guys.
I've not heard of either one, but Herman Gilliam, a solid 16 points and 9 rebounds.
First freaking high school player to be on Sports Illustrated cover.
Yeah.
Give me that 69 team.
Yeah.
I'm shocked that they're a 6. That's
a dangerous 6.
Yeah.
Champion runner-up. Yeah.
Okay, so then at the bottom of that one, you got the 3 seed, the 2018 team, against the number 14 seed, the 96 team. So
96 team was the 1 seed that darn near lost to Western Carolina. Then they got beat by Georgia in the second round. Western Carolina had a 3 at the buzzer to either win or take a best.
Yeah, Purdue won against the 16 seed, 73-71. That's correct.
They were the third team out of the 3-peat.
Yeah, that was Brantley. You had
Brad Miller was a sophomore, Chad Austin, Todd Foster, Porter Roberts,
yeah.
Justin Jennings,
He was
Roy
a
Harrison.
Justin Jennings.
Yeah.
Yeah. What team did they play? The 2018. I gotta go 2018.
17, 18. Yeah.
Healthy Isaac Haas. Yeah. 30-win team.
I feel like I'm losing track of which Carson and Isaac and Vincent and Biggie are these teams. Yeah.
I'm not playing Carson.
Yeah.
That was
the remember
like
what
the
they called
33s
Purdue?
against Iowa game.
Purdue, the best team in the nation.
Yeah.
Let me introduce you. That was
that
pretty
video was sweet. I mean, that was like national. I mean, that was like national news when
Cal State Fullerton.
They did thrash us. Threw Isaac down, broke his elbow.
He said trashed, not thrashed.
Yeah, that was
trash.
that was national news when Isaac got hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah, we beat Butler in the
right.
round of 32. Sorry, Eiler.
I know.
And lost to Chris Beard again in the Sweet 16.
Yep.
Yeah, I got to take that 2018 team.
Yep.
It was fun. Senior year of Vince, Isaac, Dakota, PJ, sophomore year Carson. Yeah, that was a fun.
Yeah,
team.
it was pretty cool. Okay, and then you got in that one now you got Rick Mount against the 18 team there, that Carson. So
Rick Mount versus sophomore year Carson.
Yeah.
I got to go 2018 team, though, because they're just more complete.
Who's going to stop Isaac?
Back then.
Who's going to stop Rick Mount?
You got Dakota.
Let them go off, because I feel like the 2018 is more just spread out. I mean, you got 3 guys who were in the G League.
Yeah.
And a nice, PJ Thompson.
So if I remember this right, I already forgot who we had in the bottom left.
Left.
I think that was the 17 team. I believe that we had 17.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yeah, they're against the 94 team, right?
Yeah, so we had Carson. No, that was Carson's freshman year. Biggie, that team against the big dog.
Got to take big dogs.
Okay. So then you got the Baby Boiler junior year against that 2018 team. I mean, that's got to be, I think, the big 2010. Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
I remember running that poll on one of my Twitter accounts, and it got retweeted by Boiled Sports. Shout out to them. And they got tons of votes, and the 2010 team won the poll pretty easily. And that's when the 2018 team was on a roll.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm taking the 2010 team. But I think that'd be a good game.
That'd be a good game.
As you say, the 18 team was so complete. I think that 2010 team was so complete. I mean, that was like.
I did too. That was the.
Are we playing 2010 rules? Because Kramer would not.
He fell out nowadays.
Yeah, well with today's rules.
Yeah.
So then back to no shocker, the Baby Boilers against the big dog.
It's always
Like,
the
yeah.
discussion.
It's my recency bias, but I love that 2010 team. I just
So do I,
Really?
but I don't know.
I
But
think-
just watching Glenn Robinson highlights are just
I know.
ridiculous.
I'm gonna go watch 2010 YouTube highlights when I get home just to relive that season because man, that was just a fun
Yeah.
team.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with 94. I can't.
I think so too. I just
All right, I'll be the out. I'll be out.
as much
I'm
as I
gonna-
like
I'm
the
gonna-
Baby
I'm gonna-
Boilers and that 2010 team, but Glenn Robinson highlights are just so fun.
They are fun to
It was
watch.
such a fun time to be at high school with a bunch of IU fans when Purdue was really good, and you had Indiana who was trash at that point. I think was that. Yeah, they were. That was like 2010.
Oh yeah, I thought you meant back in '94. I'm like, that was 90. Pretty good.
Yeah, I was like, was Bob Knight bad?
But
That was a fun.
no,
time
that
to
was
be.
fun when Crean was trying to take over after Sampson's mess and Purdue was just rolling. I even enjoyed the 08-09 team.
Mhm.
It was just a frustrating year because Robbie's back kept flaring up on him, and I thought they finally hit their stride at the end, won the Big Ten tournament, made the Sweet 16, and that's when I thought, okay, the future's really bright for this squad. So we just never got to see it at full potential because of injuries.
Mm-hmm.
One of these days, they need to release one of these for football. That'd be fun.
2000. Are you kidding? 2001. Are you kidding me?
I still love that 03 team. They were talented.
That Capital One
More
Bowl.
talented than that Rose Bowl team, I think. But
That Capital One Bowl team
Oh,
was
yeah,
ridiculous.
that defense was nasty.
Yeah. How many NFL players on that defense like drafted?
All of them.
Lots.
Like Sean Phillips, Ray Edwards.
Final Four is in
Nico.
next year. I did not know that.
Yeah, that's.
I knew it was coming up. Yeah.
That would be a very hyped one because no Final Four this year.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's kind of a lot of people have been saying, especially like when football was wrapping up, and the disappointing year we had was like basketball. Yeah, we got this year, but the eyes are on for both sports the 2021
For
season
Indy.
because
Next year for both sports.
yeah, really, yeah, that would be nice.
Yep. Well, it's been fun doing this podcast with you guys. This was our first full year doing the Boiler Breakdown. I hope everybody enjoyed it, and thanks to everybody who's watched and listened this year and sent in questions and commented. And I think Leroy Key's team, can't remember the year, was decent.
Was that 66?
Look him up.
66 team made the Rose Bowl. I know Greasy was quarterback on that team. I don't know if Keys was on that team or not. Because I know Keys was runner up to O.J. Simpson for the Heisman one year. I want to say that was after that year.
Because it was the 40th anniversary when we wore the throwback helmets, right? In 2006 with Painter. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, I just did a quick Google. So he was there at Purdue 1966 to 1968.
Okay, so he would have been.
So
Freshman.
Well, if it was in the fall, then
yeah,
you would have missed it because the Rose Bowl
Yeah.
was. Yeah.
That's true. You're right.
But yeah, we really appreciate everybody that's tuned in all year, listened, followed us on Twitter and Instagram at Boiler Break Pod, and that likes us on Facebook. We plan on being back. I think August. Hopefully August.
So yeah,
Hopefully.
To talk some
Maybe,
football.
maybe we'll talk before then about if anything big comes
Yeah,
up.
maybe they'll have a spring game in June. They'll have a summer game this year.
Yeah.
I guess we can talk just briefly. Like, I guess we're gonna have a football preview eventually, but based off what we just even heard out of spring, what's got you excited?
Offense.
That video that I think Rondale posted on his
When he's working out with Blau.
Yeah, the fact like watching his foot speed, like good God.
Just to see him and David Bell both healthy
Yeah.
on the field.
Well,
I mean, all the videos make me miss David Blau. I loved him. He was
Yeah.
He
awesome.
was a good dude.
Well, plus in the other wide receivers that weren't healthy, TJ Sheffield, that I know was eventually he was set to start or play significant minutes, and then he got hurt again. Sounds like he was having a good spring. I mean, along with Malik Carr and every other wide receiver he already had, and Sparks. Yeah.
I mean, this summer got the red shirt, but it is what it is.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like we said, basketball competition.
Well, if everybody stays healthy, I think it could be a pretty exciting season. I don't see why they couldn't contend for the West, but they're gonna have to get off to a strong start against Nebraska week 1, and that hasn't been Brom's forte. He's 0-3 in season openers at Purdue, but
First couple games. I mean, it'd be interesting to see. We talked about, with this whole not being able to practice. Look at teams like Boston College and Air Force who are with new coaches.
New coaches.
Memphis.
And yeah, was it
They promoted the assistant, so
Okay. So is the 3 teams that we're playing in the fall have
all
new
3 of
coaches?
those.
Okay. Yeah.
Air Force doesn't have a new coach.
Okay. So I was
Calhoun didn't
confusing
leave.
No, he
Air
was
Force.
he interviewed at Colorado, but he didn't.
Yeah,
Get
that's right.
Confusing Air Force, Memphis. Yeah, Memphis and Boston College have new coaches, so that could be. I
Yep.
mean, that's definitely got to hurt. I mean, at least we've got the same guy leading the ship.
Yep, and the home opener against Memphis, the new jumbotron will be up. It's massive from the
Yeah.
picture I've seen on the frame.
Hey, of course, don't worry about the whole thing shutting down and lack of funds from the NCAA shutting down, so that's good to go. It's just the other renovations we're probably going to put on hold for a while. So if you can donate.
Yep. If you can join the John Purdue Club, do so. It's good to give back to the student athletes. All right, boys. Well, it's been fun. Stay safe out there and
Wash your hands.
weather up and hammer down.
Well,